I think the best dream I've ever had, if anyone ever asks me about if I've had any cool dreams, this is one I tell them, was the Penguin was getting financial advice from the Joker, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman.
That's of all people, you think like Superman not good with money, Wonder Woman not good with money, the Joker not good with money, Aquaman like the Penguin has his own nightclub. I don't understand what is going on here. Why was that the way that he went?
I think he was worried about being a B-list villain in the dream, and he's like, well, how come I never come up with all the schemes? Which isn't true. But the Joker was just like, it's because I can handle my budget better, and then it cut to that.
And they just pushed out a fucking whiteboard. Just
Yeah, pretty much.
this is what I'm spending a month on Laughing Gas. It is quite a bit, but as you can see, I have all these possible revenue streams.
I mean, as well we know, the Joker, he doesn't mess around with the IRS. He's got to have everything down.
He'll beat you with a crowbar, but he is not going to jail for tax fraud. That is not tax evasion is never going to happen. Not to the Joker.
Exactly.
Going to jail for tax evasion is just, it's chump.
Absolutely.
You've been chumped out.
You don't go to the asylum for that. You go to regular, real-ass jail. Obligatory 10 seconds of silence. Right into the. Come on. Where's your professionalism?
Don't need it.
God damn it! Every time we try and start these off really nicely, and every time you do something. Actually, yesterday you didn't. I guess you get a pass for today because you were nice yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was you.
No, yesterday. I was good yesterday. Yesterday was probably our most professional interview that we've done because we're terrible. No, it's because we were scared the whole time. I was like, oh, no.
Who needs professionalism? You just shake it out. You just try and be as personal as possible. That's how you get the best interviews, I think.
Oh yeah, we're not actually like this. We're faking it. We don't. Again, we're very professional in real life. All of this is an act.
Yeah, we wear business suits every single day to bed, in the shower. We're like never nudes, but with business suits.
Interesting. Is it a 3-button suit or 2 buttons?
3-button.
Okay, very professional then. I see.
Yeah.
It's really rough on the leather of my suitcase. Wearing it in the shower. Yeah. But how else are you going to do business? You got to do business in the shower.
Eliminate all your papers before.
One day we're going to do a normal interview. One day it's going to go real normal and feel like we're professionals. No. And that'll be the day I quit, I think.
Yeah. So since we've done our 10 seconds of silence...
we definitely didn't, but I appreciate that you feel like there was 10 seconds in there where you were quiet.
Thank you. My name's Rebecca.
You not do it with laughing. You can't even keep it together. Come on.
My name's Rebecca. And this is Steven. And today...
Hello, my name's Steven.
And today we're sitting down with Harvey Clark, who is the creator of the Paper Please supplement on DM's Guild, which is wonderful, and I can't wait to gush all about that in a minute.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Harvey. Oh my goodness. I'm so delighted that we're talking to you today. It's been a rough one, and we've had to jump through a lot of hoops to get here, but I'm very excited.
Oh, as am I. I mean, I think that's always the thing, isn't it? With with technical hiccups as well as real ones, after they start, it's difficult to get them to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, yes, absolutely. It starts to spiral very,
me,
very quickly.
I chew on peanut butter, but there's no way to put peanut butter in a computer. So...
I mean, you could, but it probably wouldn't do much good for the computer.
I mean, we could try it. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not tech savvy at all. Russell'd be mad. Russell'd be real mad. But I would just look at him and be like, I thought peanut butter would help. It was a hiccup, so I just put it right in there and I slathered it good. And let me tell you, it did not hiccup anymore.
You need to make sure you get peanut butter with chunks, not smooth. That's
Yeah. Well, you have to have something to chew on, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's weird they're not peanut chunks, though. It's something else.
Yeah. Huh.
Mysterious, chunky peanut butter.
I don't want to know.
Oh man, it'd be worse if I used like the goobers, the schmuckers, where it's both the peanut butter and jelly in the jar.
No.
Yeah.
What? You can get that?
Oh my god, yes,
It's
absolutely.
America. We can get anything.
It is the worst. Yeah, if you can imagine a horrible idea, we're on it.
They came out with so a lot of people in America will mix like ranch and ketchup or like
Ugh.
What?
like mayonnaise and ketchup. And so Hunt's the ketchup company has like Heinz, thank you.
Heinz.
Came out with like bottles of here's mayonnaise and ketchup, here's mustard and mayonnaise, here's
ketchup and ranch, and they call it cranch, and that's just gross.
What? Oh,
First
no.
off, it sounds awful, and then like it just ranch is gross. And then they did like back in the day. I wish they'd bring this back. The different colored ketchups, man. Bright purple ketchup or bright green mustard, and you get a rate on stuff. Yeah, that's fun times.
No.
And that sounds fun.
That sounds like the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. The 90s were a fever dream, and I don't want to remember most of it.
I think the UK has got you beat out, though, in one regard. Scotland went and deep-fried a Mars bar, so...
I mean, that's just every fare we have here. We'll deep fry everything.
You can go down to one of the convenience stores here, Sheetz, and get deep fried Oreos.
Deep fried Oreos. I was gonna say, I remember at a fair one time they had deep fried butter, and I was like, "What? The fuck is this?
Yeah,
what is happening? Why are we doing this?
Eat it."
Yeah.
No, hell no. Like I'm not good about what I put in my body at all, but I have certain restrictions. And the idea of deep frying butter and then eating that is just no.
There's a limit.
No, we need to be on. We need to collapse as a society if we can't get past deep frying everything.
Life's short.
That's see. I guess that is true because there's a couple of them where I've been like, oh, I'd try that. Like a deep fried beer, I was like, all right, I'd give it a shot. What the hell?
Again, I feel like that's just bread.
So no, they take the beer and they freeze it. And then they put batter around it, so that way, when it heats up, the beer is at a nice temperature, and so it has like a ball, and you bite into it, and it has the beer inside. Technology is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Don't let Scotland know.
I'll keep it a secret. Don't worry. Just between you and I.
Oh man, I can only imagine some of the things. Oh, deep fried haggis. Ugh, gross.
Oh no. Oh.
Just one step too far.
I think when I came to visit America, the one food I missed the most, funnily enough, was black pudding. I don't know if you ever had black pudding. Oh,
black pudding is so good.
I've never had.
Oh, you've never had black pudding? They have it at Meeker's, so you can get it with the Irish breakfast. They have the black pudding, and then they have the blood pudding. They have all of that. It's so good. It's a sausage.
Yeah. I've never had it though.
Yeah, it's like, it's nice. It's very nice. It's very, very... It's a little much. All of that, the English and the Irish breakfast, I'm like, how the hell are they doing that?
Yeah,
and then I look at ours and it's just straight sugar.
I mean, gotta have one way to start the day. Kickstart if you want.
Yeah, that's how we have to operate. Every meal that has to have just as much sugar as we can put into it.
So, leaving off from food and...
I can do that all day. We can just talk about...
Yeah, why not?
Steering into something a little more productive.
We just came up with some really great. We'll put these in Eberron. Deep fried butter and beer. We'll ruin Eberron. Let's do it.
I feel like deep fried beer would be easier to do in Eberron.
I think that's fair. I think
it's a very Sharn thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like that, and then because they have so many vendors and street foods, I think that would be a big, very big Sharn thing.
Yeah, because then it's just like handheld beer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, let's.
Speaking of Eberron and D&D, Harvey, how did you get introduced to tabletop role-playing games, D&D, etc., etc.?
So the very first time I even looked at a tabletop RPG was probably when I was about 14 or 15. I believe that I'd heard about D&D, but 5e was still relatively new at the time, I think. I haven't fact-checked any of this. That's fine, though.
I won't tell.
But the first RPG I played was Harp, which was a high-adventure role-playing. I remember absolutely nothing about the system, but I would consider it that divine spark, for want of a better word, which has set the rest of my life into motion. So after that, I had designed my own sort of system over the next 2 years, much of which was played very fast and loose. It was like, hey, I'm going to roll a d20 to open this door. I was like, okay, I got a 17. Does that open it? I'm like, yep, that does it. But as I went to college, I started to warm up to D&D. I learned the system. I got myself a physical player's handbook. And I just created a setting of my own. And we just kind of went for it with my group of friends of the time, most of whom I still play D&D with today. So yeah, that was really my introduction to it. And since then, I've played other things. Tales from the Loop, which is one which uses the Year Zero system. Yeah, the Year Zero system. And one which came out in 2019, I think, which was the Dishonored tabletop RPG, which uses the 2d20 system. Both of those I really quite enjoy.
So I love you. Just gonna say that right now.
Thank you. I love you too.
I haven't gotten to play the Dishonored RPG system yet. It's on my list, but Dishonored's like my favorite video game.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I think it's. I could spend a whole interview just gushing about Dishonored. Honestly, it's such a rich, interesting world. I really love it. It's
genuinely just like I go back and I play each game at least once a year just because I need more. I'm really excited for Deathloop coming up. Next month? This month?
This month, I think.
This month.
Unless you work at GameStop. Again. You should know.
Fuck.
That's literally your job.
We've got little papers on the registers that tell us when things come out.
It plays on the TV behind you over and on a death loop, just again and again and again. You've learned nothing.
I block it out, man. It's just noise.
I'm excited about Deathloop. Dishonored was enjoyable, but it didn't do it for me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think because immediately, anytime I'm like, I have to be stealthy, I'm going to just kill my way through everything. I can't do it. I play Hitman like that, where I run through Hitman with a shovel and just murder everyone I come across.
Oh, not a fish?
A shovel.
No, just a shovel. Because the shovel has like a nice javelin effect when you throw it, and it just...
Oh, you're right.
That did it for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Tales from the Loop. We played Tales from the Loop, and that was such a fun-ass game. I didn't realize it was a Year Zero, because I didn't play Year Zero, Mutant Year Zero, but I looked into it. Mm-hmm. I have the book. It was one of the ones I wanted to run, but I never got to.
Yeah.
I have a Mutant Year Zero on my bookshelf. I've been meaning to play, but it's sitting there gathering dust, just like that vacuum cleaner.
That's how my... Damn it. Well played. That's how. So I bought it and I went through it and I read every single thing and I'm like, I'm going to do a campaign here. I really want to do this, and I wanted to tie it from Mutant Year Zero into Gamma World, which is a post-apocalyptic RPG from Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, it ran in 4E. But I was like, this would be really nice to have, because for me, Mutant Year Zero was too serious, and I can't do serious RPGs. I immediately want to break them and just make them goofy. I don't know. I'm 10.
Yeah.
That's fair. Like, I think the joy of RPGs is you can just make them your own thing. Like, the way I tend to DM, as I am the unassigned forever DM. I really like DMing though, but it's like you need to have like a good mix of comedy, even if you have like a more dark moment. Is like as long as you like can come back to it, like, I am the Lich and I am here to kill everyone. It's like whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I could do a grimdark. We tried with one DM, and we didn't want it to be grimdark, but he kept trying to make it as grimdark as possible, and so it just kept. That was where I created Kevin, so it was just very tonally different from what we had intended as players and what he intended as a DM, and then we couldn't reconcile that at all.
It was bad.
That's well. On the plus side, we got, or maybe it's a negative, but we got Kevin Capona. So
that is a negative, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trust me. Sometimes he just sits with me, and I'm like, I want him to go away. Why won't he leave me alone? This is not a real person. And he goes, yeah, but what if I am? What if you're slowly losing grasp on reality and all of this is in your head? Who gets famous because of this voice? Are you serious? Shit, he got me again. He outsmarted me, not again.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. It's okay. You're not a psychopath. Help me.
Thank you, normal part of my voice, normal part of my brain telling me I'm okay. Yeah, thank you so much.
So Harvey, what are there any RPGs you haven't played that you've been interested in possibly playing in the future?
I have been wanting to get into a superhero-based tabletop game for several years now. I've looked at things like Mutants and Masterminds. What's that new one that's come out? It's City of Dusk or something.
I should know. It's the one that RuneSmith is super into. I can't remember the name of it, but yes.
Yes. I think I've wanted to have a look at Savage Worlds for a while because I've heard a lot of people in the Eberron community, unsurprisingly, talking about that. So there are things which I want to get into and want to get into again. Like I've played one game of Call of Cthulhu back in like 2016, I think, and since then haven't touched it, but have kept like hearing things about it, looking at it. It's just a matter of time for me, I think, because as I say, I tend to be the DM, so usually when we are playing, it is my choice of game, and that would be easy for me, you'd think. But the thing is that the friend groups I have a group with my uni friends and a group with my friends I know back from when I was at school. We're all very busy, but we all know 5e, so that's just what's been driving us, even though there are other things on the backlog, so to speak.
I think that is very difficult because I'll do that as well. I'll see a system and I'm like, I really want to try that. Call of Cthulhu, but there's a different version called Octung Cthulhu, which instead of taking place during, the 1920s, it takes place during World War II, and it has more Nazis, and you get to enjoy a lot of that fun aspects of it. Mm-hmm. But I just I learned the rules and I'm like, this would be great, but then I don't want to run it because, man, I really want to play in it, and I think that is hard sometimes being a forever DM.
That's always the rub. Is like, this is fun. One day I will play. Not today, though.
We have so many RPGs on our shelf that will just never be played because, either I'm the only one who's interested in playing it, or like we've got the old school Maid Cafe, or the Maid RPG, which is notorious.
We have a Mexican telenovela.
The telenovela
which
RPG.
I'm so excited about, and we're never going to play.
I'll have to get a pen and write some of these down, I think.
Oh, we'll send you a list because we've got so many good ones that we just that you can also not play as well.
I love that. I look forward to it.
There was one that we were really excited to play, and we used to be a part of a group called RPG Discovery, where every Monday we would get together and we would try different RPGs. But because of COVID, all of that fell apart, and I really miss it. But we tried one called Overlight, and that was a weird fever dream of an RPG system. It's a really good system, and I think there's a lot of potential there, but it is a very dark story when you look at it. It's all rainbow and very prismatic and looks very light and fun, and then you're like, oh, genocide, what is going on here? This is too much.
Yeah, it's you look at the art and you start reading and you're like, oh, cute little tree rodent guys. Oh, look at these cool flying dinosaur raptor guys.
Yeah.
This is so cool. And then you start reading into it and it's like, and then they killed everyone.
Oh god.
What is going on?
Like kind of like Super Happy Tree Friends, but an RPG or something like
so
that.
Very
I think
similar,
it would have like the Banari, which were the tree people. So they're like rodents, but they can give themselves aspect using wood that they just kind of grow around themselves like little mech suits. And I was like, that's really cool. And then like, oh, but if their actual tree dies, they become soulless husks. What the fuck, guys? Take it easy. Yeah, so one of their trees burned in the last war, and just a billion people, or not a billion people, like thousands and thousands of people are just empty husks now. Fuck, man, that's you can't hide this in the text. It looks so nice.
RPGs that subvert what you expect of them are always interesting, but that's particularly interesting.
I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to play it.
What did you say it was called? Overlight?
Overlight.
I think that none of us knew what we were getting into. Maybe that would have been different because, we got into it and we're like, this is light, this is going to be fun, it looks like it's bright colored, it's all prismatic themed, it's going to be interesting. And then they're like, oh yeah, but you have to break into these cells that hang underneath the shard where you live, and if you fall from them, you just drift out into space forever. Like, what the fuck? That's too much. Guys, that's too much.
It's a really interesting one, though. It feels like the gameplay, the mechanics-wise, kind of similar to, I want to say, like, Exalted. But it's like Exalted, but rules light. Like, it's not quite as heavy as Exalted is. Anyway,
after all the talk of that, let's go to something much later, and let's talk about. You want to hang on? Do you want to pitch Good Society? You haven't pitched it this episode.
Hey, so everyone should play Good Society. It's a lot of fun.
What's it about?
Good Society is a Jane Austen RPG. So every player gets to be a main character and one like minor character in a collaborative role-playing like Jane Austen novel. So everybody has like their connections to all of the other players, their relationships. Some things might be secret, and some things might be not. And then everybody's got desires that they're trying to fulfill. And then you go through different novel phases and chapters as you slowly kind of go through the rural England early 18th century Regency
it is
middle society.
It is a good
gentry.
RPG. I will say that as much as I harass you for, I think they are paying you is what I'm
I really wish they would.
Yeah,
I've actually been thinking about
so much,
how I can get the creators on the podcast.
It's a really nice system, and I think that if you are looking for something that is very rules light and a little more freeform and a little more collaborative, it's really good, especially if your players are good at improv. I think that definitely helps.
Oh, sounds cool.
And it allows you to explore different aspects of things than you'd normally get to explore in like D&D and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. So, Steve, would you continue our questions with the one that I have highlighted on the screen right now?
I can't read that. Does it say to Wanfu? Oh, to Eberron.
Yeah.
So what brought you into Eberron as opposed to just traditional D&D?
So I am fairly new to Eberron, actually. I heard about Eberron when I was probably just finishing college and then going to uni. But I didn't really get into Eberron for quite some time. I think part of me thought it was, it's like Faerun or Greyhawk or Dragonlance, and while all of those are fine settings, as I kind of said, I had my own setting at the time, which I was content GMing for erstwhile. So with Eberron, it came around that I wanted to GM a new setting. I just finished DMing a really long campaign, and so I started reading into it. And my very, very good friend Adam got me a copy of Rising from the Last War for Christmas. And since then, I have been hooked. Like, really, I did not expect to fall in love with Eberron as much as I already have. I just think, like I kind of say, it's such a diverse world, and there's so many facets of it, which I think some other settings might overlook, but Eberron really has a widespread look, especially like in the community, especially Keith Baker. I read his blog constantly. I actually have a notebook going right now, which is where I go through and if I see something interesting, I'm like, write that down. But it's just such a well and intertwined world where it has this magic system, but then it's like, well, how would that work if it was widespread? And now you've got magical monopolies, you've got halflings riding dinosaurs, you've got dragons and Rakshasa trying to control the fate of destiny. Well, that's a bit campy, maybe just the Draconic prophecy, but still, it's like it's so interesting, I think, if I could give it a word. And I know that's such a boring word, but it's true.
No, I think that sums it up nicely, is that it has that. So the way that we always describe it is it has a crunch. Like, it's not just something that you're eating that's like a mush. It's got that texture to it, and it's got the crunch, and you just really enjoy the mouthfeels of it, because every time you find another facet of it, you're like, wow, I didn't expect that. It's very different than just, Forgotten Realms mush.
Exactly, like chunky peanut butter.
Like mysteriously chunky peanut butter, exactly. See? That you know what we're talking about.
Exactly, yeah.
Gross.
But no, I've probably been into Eberron for 1-2 years now. Yeah.
You and I are on the same boat here. Steve got me into Eberron. He's been a fan for a while, and it's really disconcerting for me because for some reason people think that I'm like a voice of authority, and sometimes I have to go onto the large Eberron server and just be like, "Hey guys, I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. Can you help?"
So it's impressive because you know a hell of a lot more than I do. All the time, I'm just like, yeah, no, I've got so many RPGs jammed into my brain, I don't remember what settings is.
Yeah,
it's all part of the parcel, isn't it? The learning experience.
I think that's fair. That is very true. I think that there's a lot to learn, and then learning it side by side with putting out something every week makes it a little easier, because there are things that I'm not familiar with that I should be familiar with that I'll suddenly pick up on and be like, oh yeah, of course, I remember this because of that, and we covered this, and so it makes it feel more natural learning instead of just like, because I get bogged down in the book sometimes. I'll start a chapter and I'll make it about halfway through, and then I'm like, I can't read anymore because I'm terrible about that. I jump around. I have to jump around all the time.
I think that's something you can do with Eberron, though, because, like I say, it's such an intertwined setting. If you're like, oh, well, I'm reading about this, but I'm not really feeling this right now, I'll jump to this book or this paragraph or this page, and I'll read from there. It's like you'll still come back to what you were reading originally, but it's just like it gives you a fresh perspective on something else at the time.
A very fair point. I think that is the case with a lot of it. So a lot of the books that I read way back in the day, and I just don't remember bits and pieces of it. I even read a bunch of the novels, and then going back through them, there were things that I just blatantly missed, and I'm like, man, I can't believe that I didn't read this or I misinterpreted that, and it's nice to get that fresh look on it, that fresh perspective.
Absolutely.
So you haven't been in Eberron that long. What made you decide to go all in and do Papers, Please?
So I think to answer that, I need to go back a bit. Ever since I started DMing way back when I was playing the kind of fast and loose system that me and my group of friends developed at the time, I have always had a fascination for table props. I love props in general. I think every time I watch a film, most of the time I am looking at what the actor is holding rather than the actor. But I think, especially in D&D, it's like if the GM says, you enter the room and on the desk you find a lone letter, the moonlight coming through the window casting its beams across it, and then they hand you a letter. I think that is such a cool feeling. You get to feel the paper, you get to open it, you get to examine what's in front of you rather than just having it as like a quick cheat sheet or cue card, or the DM says it aloud. It's something you can hold and refer back to. And I like to go above and beyond where I can, just because it's a field that really interests me. A month or two ago, I started to source some of my own paper after watching a video Adam Savage did talking about a Grail diary prop from Indiana Jones, and how he had like onion skin paper, or this type of paper was laid paper, and I really catched on to that. I like to use wax seals where I can. I think the favorite document I've ever made, I've got it with me now, was a contract for the party who were traveling by ship. The captain was a GIF, a giant hippopotamus man, and so I thought, well, this is gonna be like the contract from The Hobbit. This is gonna be a highfalutin, legal jargon-filled document. And sort of where everything comes together is when you get given a document, it isn't necessarily just a piece of paper. It can have something funny in it. It's more than just the ink. It can be tragic, the comedy. It can be a vital clue or a world-building stitch. I hope you don't mind, but I would like to read one of the paragraphs I wrote in this.
Please, contract. No, absolutely. Read away. I'm enthralled.
This is the very last paragraph. There are many. I don't know if I said. Maybe I did. I'm so scatterbrained. I'm so sorry. It's like 6 A4 pieces of paper all stitched and waxed together.
Oh God.
It's almost the length of me. Last paragraph reads, expedition undertaken entirely at crew's own risk. Present company shall not be liable for injuries inflicted by or sustained as a consequence thereof, including, but not limited to, lacerations, eviscerations, incineration, inflammation, disintegration, suffocation, marginalization, decapitation, experimentation, fragmentation, transmutation, mortification, intoxication, excommunication, contamination, and or drowning.
I think that's how I'm going to end every list now, and or drowning.
But yeah, like I say, so I think props, especially table props and D&D handouts, they can be so much more than the paper they're printed on. So coming back to the question, Papers, Please is essentially my best attempt to combine the love I have for table props with the newfound love I have of Eberron. Like, when I was looking through the book, I read about the spell casting license and the weapon license, and I read about identification, and then I saw some people on Reddit making telegrams and letters of marque and travel permits, and I looked at that, and I was really inspired, but forgive my my pomposity, if I dare say, but I thought I could do better than that. And so I was really inspired by Annie Atkins. She does props for Wes Anderson's films. If you've seen the Grand Budapest Hotel, you've seen her work. So I took ideas from that, and I looked at the given references already from older editions where they have like a letter of marque, I think, in one of the 3.5 books.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid I don't remember which one. But look at that, and then I went and... because I did graphic design when I was at school, and I know that's nothing you brag about when you're coming up to 24, but I took all that, I took the knowledge I had, and I just thought, I'm going to make these. And I did to a quality and standard which I thought fit in Eberron. I always kind of see Eberron as this setting which is a rough approximation of like a 1920s art style in a fantasy world. So I ran with that, and I understand that's maybe it's a long-winded answer, I don't know, but it's a very round the bush answer, but still, that's why I did it.
I love it.
I was going to say around the bush, but worthwhile. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. There's so much there. And when I was looking through, I was really just inspired immediately by the quality of them. Like the birth certificates, I was like, that's both unnecessary and then also amazing. I would love to hand my players a birth certificate and be like, here you go. Do the stuff for you. I would love to see your parentage. I would love to have your birthday down on there. And it's just little things like that. And then the ID and building off of that. It's really very clever. And I'm really excited to have them in my games. I love papers. I absolutely love papers and forms and documents. So I am ecstatic about this.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I've had a habit of cutting you off several times now, please.
It's because we both are excited. I was just going to say that I love the oh fuck, I don't even know what to call it. The lines on the papers to make them harder to forge.
Yes.
The fuck is that called?
Oh,
watermark?
You think I would know? Watermark would be close.
It's kind of so like all of like the squiggly lines that were on a lot of the papers. It's so that technically you can't print them easily. Like they do it on like checks and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So that you can't forge them, or it makes it harder to forge them. I loved it. I thought it was super good, inventive,
Thank you.
Unique, amazing.
Yeah, like I said, I tried to make a believable document first and foremost, and just like as you say with the birth certificate, is you can give it out to players and that's very cool for them, but I think also with Eberron you could take that and perhaps use it for a more intrigue based plot. You could say, oh, okay, well, there's this lord who has this disowned son that nobody knows about, but he's got a birth certificate. If you get the birth certificate, give the birth certificate to the players, suddenly they've got leverage over him.
Oh yeah, that's I wouldn't even think of stuff like that. Yeah. So all of the intrigue and all of the plot things, instead I immediately went, well, I'm going to make them do a lot of paperwork and make them miserable.
Oh, that's fair.
I mean, bureaucracy is
immediately the paranoia vibes, because there's an RPG system called Paranoia, and in that I have a stack of forms, because they had a supplement for theirs that was just forms and more forms. And so there's forms to requisition more forms. There's forms for firing your gun. There's forms. So in order to fire a gun, you have to fire an intent to fire your gun. You have to file all of that. And then every form has like trick questions on it just to make everything ridiculous.
There's a form it's entirely meta. It's a bathroom.
The bathroom form. Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to fill that out, and it asks like when the last time you ate was, when the last time you drank was, when the last time you used the like it's
yeah. And then a lot of the questions also have that intent, like, hey, what about this thing? And you're like, well, oh, okay, I'll answer that question. And they're like, well, hang on, you don't have any knowledge of that. How did you know that? And now I have it written down, so I'm gonna have to question you and interrogate you for the remainder of the evening. Enjoy.
Paranoia is great.
Well, like anytime I think of like props and things like that, that's where my mind goes. And then the quality of everything in there, I was like, man, it's so good. It's so good. I want to make everyone's life miserable and give them a little box full of paper that they have to fill out.
We were discussing, because we're going to a convention this winter, hopefully. Who knows?
Fingers crossed.
Pandemic is still a thing that's ravaging America and worldwide. But when I was looking through, I was like, we should print some of these out, Steve, and we should have these as like part of the cosplay.
Yeah, the press forms. We were going to have the press badges to say that we're members of the press and see if that worked. If not, I'm gonna have to contact you and let you know that they are not respecting your papers.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to do that, you'll have to file another form first. But I'm sure we can smooth it over.
All right, fantastic. See, there we go. That's bureaucracy at work. I love it. So, do you do a lot of arts and crafts for your in real life games? I know that you had done the 6-page giant contract, yes. but did you start with that immediately? Is that?
No, I think I started out just by, like I say, writing letters. If it was more of a futuristic setting, I would get out a electric typewriter I have and type up like a field report kind of esque thing, hand that out. I've always had a arts and crafts bone in my body. I can't say where it originated from, but working with your hands is just such a gratifying thing. Like, I understand obviously all the documents from Papers, Please are digital, but that is still work put in. But also it's like I've done work with leather before. I have sewn. I have done your typical God, I can't think what to call it, but it's like your general arts and crafts sort of faff. But yeah, so I think it's always been something I've done, and I think that I'm able to channel it through D&D, because how often do you need to write a travel permit between two fictional countries in real life? You can't do that, so you gotta do it in Dungeons and Dragons.
That is true, but I warn you, it will slowly begin to take hold, and it will become everything. Don't just walk away. Just walk away now.
I can't. It's like a drug, honestly. Since I finished Papers, Please, I'm working on a little overhaul of the PDF, and with it, I think I was going to add another document, which I read about on Keith Baker's blog, which was an undead license. I think I called it a corpse possession license.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely wonderful.
It had like name of necromancer, circle and rank, where were the undead found, who are they, reason for zombification. Hopefully I'm going to get that out soon. I've just been super busy looking for work, but c'est la vie.
Love it.
I love it.
Oh, I think that.
Oh,
I thought. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah. No, that's amazing, and I think that it's definitely a project that's just going to continue to grow.
I hope so.
I think that it's so fun when you find an outlet for your creativity within your hobbies, and I can't wait to see more. I'm really ecstatic about the prospects of just paperwork. I just want to hang them up on the wall. I just want a birth certificate for Silas, and I want to frame it, and I want to put it up on the wall. And yeah, that was the day that I was born. Good day.
I think Silas is from Sharn, but I was thinking of working on a diploma for the 8 colleges. It's taken me a hot minute because I needed to decide what the logo would look like. I've kind of decided on an 8-pointed star, whereas in each it's not that, is it a 90-degree angle? It might be a 90-degree angle, but I wanted to have a little sigil representing each of the colleges. Some are more difficult than others. I have no idea what to use to represent maths, but such is life.
that is a little more ridiculous and difficult to figure out. So one thing that I want to say, because we are I'm sure we're getting ready to wrap up here and go into our actual questions. But before then, I want you to know that I immediately had a visceral reaction when looking through at the word telegram. And I was like, oh no, I don't like this. No good. How can telegram? And then immediately after you had a little blob, I was like, hey, this is why it's telegram. I was like, fuck, damn it. That's actually very profound and makes sense. Damn it.
Yeah,
Damn it.
like graph just is a graph, and then teller is communication over a distance. So, and they have telepathy, so why not a telegram?
Yeah, no, it absolutely made sense. And looking at it, I was just like, that is the most logical thing. And I just immediately want to hate on things because I'm an old man.
Well, I'm sure people do the same with, like, broadcasting with us.
Because they see it as one word instead of two, and don't understand.
But no, it's a broadcasting of a spell, and blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Yep. So
I like broadcasting.
I thank you for Telegram. I'm going to use it now. I'm going to put it in there, and Silas would be like, it's one of those newer words. I'm not super big fan of it. We used to just call them sendings, but Telegram's fine.
So, onto the difficult questions. So if you're sweating now, just wait.
It's like 26 degrees. What's that in Fahrenheit? Like 80?
80, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's what our guest had said yesterday. It was about that.
Yeah.
I now know
yesterday.
Maybe where your guest is from. Part of the world, anyway.
But yeah, she said that she was dying of heat as well.
She said it wasn't bad. She said it was in the 70s and 80s, but and she did say it was rather warm.
That's super warm for,
Yeah, it's because our houses are obviously not made to expel heat. They're meant to retain it most of the year. It's just it heats up like an oven.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, most houses in the UK don't have like air conditioning.
Yep, never moving there. Sorry, guys. To our fans in Europe, we're not coming out there. I don't know how to tell you. I'm so sorry to disappoint you.
No, that's why you go during like fall and spring.
Because that's like they were like, oh, come to Italy. It's wonderful. And I was like, oh, I could go to Italy when I was younger. And then someone told me they had no air conditioning and it was hotter than hell. And I was like, I don't want to go to Italy.
I felt when I visited the US, I was visiting as a student, and I remember my first thought when I left the airport was that I have left the airport and I have walked into a sauna.
Where did you study?
I studied in Greensboro, North Carolina.
That's not too far from here. Greensboro's a nice area.
No, but it's humid.
Oh yes, absolutally. Yeah.
You swim through the air.
Yeah,
you do.
Just very unfortunate.
Yeah. The worst part was I forgot my floaties, so.
Oh no!
It was just heat all the way down.
So you have created Papers, Please, and we've created the Echoers, we've created radio in Eberron. If you could introduce something to Eberron or any fantasy setting, honestly, what would that thing be?
I think I would introduce to Eberron ska, especially two-tone ska. The simple reason is that I just like ska music, but I also feel that it fits the sort of modern post-war Eberron, because obviously it has its inspirations being blues and jazz, which kind of fits Eberron's noir vibe, but it's also more uplifting and hopeful, I think. Still, while conflict brews, music thrives, but it's interesting because me and a friend have talked about this a whole lot, is that Eberron, at least in our opinion, is in the sort of Mobius strip that encircles the ends of World Wars 1 and 2, in the sense that we've just had this great war, and then the other half where we've come out of this mass destruction, and this is the time for cultural change. That's what I think is the most interesting about the setting, is it poses you all this history, but it's also saying, hey, the world is changing now. And I think that's why ska would fit in so well, because that's sort of what aligns with our own time. Also, I just really want to hear "I've Been Riding on My Horse" by Kevin Capona. So.
Oh man, I would love. So I'm a huge fan of ska, and I tried my best to bring it in when we had on Bardic Mystery Tour. They did a song, Retroactive Continuity or Retcon, and that song is a fucking bop, man. I heard that and I didn't need to hear anything else. It was so good, and I'm glad that we got that in there because it was just. But I really wish that there were more ska bands. I've been to Warped Tour. I saw Real Big Fish back in the day, and man, I can't get enough of that. I can't get enough of it. It's upbeat. It's happy people music.
Yeah.
It is all the good in the world, even when the song is awful.
Yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes it being awful makes it more good in a roundabout way.
Or like, there's songs that I just immediately get stuck in my head. Mr. Smiley by Mustard Plug is a very dark song, but it's so upbeat that you just can't help but enjoy singing along.
Yeah. Madness did a song called Cardiac Arrest, which is about someone going into cardiac arrest, but at the same time, the most upbeat thing you can imagine.
So you can't be unhappy with ska. It just touches a place deep inside you.
Exactly. I would recommend Madness and The Specials if you've
I've heard of
not
neither
heard
of them.
you've-
I'm gonna add them immediately to my list because man, I can't get enough of it. It's great when ska comes on. Like I have a ska playlist on Spotify, and I'll be in the kitchen listening to it, and it'll come on, and just the looks of the other house members, because just Steve jamming out to his weird music.
I think if you're starting with Madness, I would recommend probably either House of Fun or Our House. Those are probably the two they're best well known for. The Specials, I'd recommend Ghost Town. I think that's probably the best well known of their songs. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's certainly the best well known.
Well, I am delighted to look into these and having more music. There's just something so enjoyable about big band. I don't know what it is. That delicious brass. Just the trumpet, the trombone, the saxophone. Any of those getting mixed up into it just makes it feel better. It's just better.
Alive.
It's just absolutely. There's like 10 guys on stage playing when it doesn't feel like Mumford and Sons, where all of them are just kind of muddled. That you can distinctly hear every member of that band.
I was gonna say, and they're not like. No, never mind. Don't say that.
They're not what, Rebecca?
I was gonna say like weirdly white and.
No, they're all most ska bands are weirdly white.
Are
Yeah, absolutely.
White. Yeah,
that is fair. That is a fair critique.
Yeah. So moving on, from that topic, immediately, if you could cast a single spell from any edition of D&D or other RPGs, what would that spell be?
I thought about this long and hard. I think whenever someone asks me, my usual go-to is Prestidigitation. It's a cantrip. It is so useful. It can do so much stuff. But I'm going to go with a different one. It's not from the PHB or any of the Wizards released books. It's from Exploring Eberron. It's Orndere's Silent Sanctum. And if anyone is not familiar with the spell, essentially you cast a 5-foot bubble around yourself, and anyone trying to listen in mechanically has to make a perception check at disadvantage. Likewise, if you want to hear anything outside, you make a perception check at disadvantage. It also gives you advantage on spells like Command. I can't see that coming into much use in real life, but that's its D&D use. But in terms of like bringing that into real life, I think that it's a really useful spell. Like recording could be a perfect example of, you have a sound booth on the go, you can make your conversation more private. I think there's ways that can go beyond its intended use as well, which I just haven't thought of. I think it's quite a interesting, simple spell. I do think it's a cantrip. Again, I don't know if I said that because I'm horrible at just saying things, and then I immediately forget what I've said. But yeah, I think that would be a really interesting spell to bring through to real life beyond just something like prestidigitation or mending.
I think we're going to have to take prestidigitation off, because I think that we're getting better answers if we don't have that on there.
No, I think that because it's on Dare's Secret Sanctum. On Dare's
Silent Sanctum.
Silent Sanctum.
It's right there. We can grab the
I know.
book.
EXE is literally in arm's reach, but I'm lazy. No, there's so many uses. You can be like, you can ethically be that guy who, you know, has the stupid little stereo in your pocket listening to music on your phone, but like out loud instead of like having earbuds in. And
Exactly.
then you're not going to have a lot of people hate you for it.
Yes and no. The 5-foot thing, I think, is what makes that a little... Because then, now there's this weird bubble that I have to walk through when I'm on the bus or the train. And I think that is the only... Like, I think that if it was a little smaller, you'd be less intrusive. But yeah, no, I agree that it would make it... that and just, you know, private conversations really quickly. Although, I would immediately be like, what are they talking about? Why is it got to be in that bubble? Now it's bad conversations. Now I'm on edge. Now I'm going to try and listen.
Oh my god, did you hear what Rebecca said last night?
No, I didn't. She said it in the bubble. I have no idea.
Oh, you were in the bubble. Okay, never mind.
Just immediately on edge anytime someone's like, we're going to talk in the bubble.
Everybody, bubble, 3 minutes.
Well, what are they talking about in there? I don't want to talk about it. And does just your head have to be in? How does that work? Like, are you just
you're thinking too hard now?
standing in a big gray bubble and like your legs are sticking out of the bottom?
I think
If you're taller than 5 feet, I guess.
Yeah. I think the idea of like bringing spells into real life is probably you could change them a little. No one's gonna rules lawyer you.
I also think that should be more true for D&D as well. I think there should be a lot more flexibility when it comes to limiting a spell in that regard.
Keith does that a lot with Threshold. For example, during the last session that just released, one of the players used Charm Person, but on a blast disc to try and make it not explode.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You know?
Yeah.
She's just like, hey, blast disc, what if you didn't explode? And the blast disc was like, all right, fam.
So I think that harkens back to the use magic device ability of 3-5, because you would assert your will over something magical. So I can see where he's coming in with that. It's a weird ruling, but all right.
It was you should watch it. Oh wait.
I want to watch it. It's just they're so long. I have no ability to do something that long. I can barely get through our show.
Wow.
I'm just being honest. Our show is the 5 minutes makes it unbearable.
5 minutes.
Yeah, when it was 30, it was all right. 35 minutes, it is 10 times longer, and I hate it. And I never
got that on record now. So
oh no,
True.
I'll tell everyone our show is terrible, and you shouldn't be listening.
Wow, rude.
well, I'll tell them that it's great and they should.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Ha.
Yeah.
Oh, who are you gonna believe? The guy who created Papers, Please, or the guy who created Trust me, I know taste, guys. I have very good taste, and this chunky peanut butter is it.
I think that's gonna end up being the name of the OOC. It's just chunky peanut butter.
The weird chunky peanut butter. All right, let's do it. Mysterious chunks. It's all not what you think at all. Don't worry, guys.
I don't even know what I think it is yet.
But it's not that.
Okay.
I don't want to hazard a guess.
So I wanted chunky peanut butter. I couldn't afford it. It's more expensive. So I just mixed in gravel and it got the same effect.
You want some crunch with that?
See, it's good crunch. Just don't chew it. You gotta just kind of like let it slide down.
Oh no. Kevin, why?
I ask that every day. Kevin, why? No more, please. See, I enjoyed these interviews where it's a little more limber and nonsensical.
Terrified. So Harvey, why don't you go ahead, give us the Papers, Please pitch. Tell all of our fabulous listeners where they can find your work, your social media, all of whatever you want people to have.
No?
No.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a no with a K.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Phonetically.
I thought he was just like, yeah, no, I don't want anyone to know that I was associated with this fucking thing.
No,
Bye.
I'm a cryptid. I can't let them know. No, you can find me on Twitter at HNJ Clark. I'll probably check that's right. If that's not right, can we change that? It's like,
I'm looking you up right now.
I was gonna say I don't know how we could change it other than me going like it's HNJ Clark with an E.
That is correct. It is with an E.
Oh yeah, cool. I nailed it.
Yeah. That is where I sometimes interact with the internet. If you're looking for Eberron Papers, Please, you can find it under that name on the DMs Guild. My pitch is essentially this. Across Corvair, the diligent and loyal scribes of House Sivis work tirelessly to produce and provide the civilized world with documentation. Identification papers, travel permits, birth and death certificates, lightning rail tickets, and more can be found in this collection. Essentially, when you buy this, you're going to get a PDF that tells you how to fill out these documents. It's going to give you written examples. Presently, there are 27 different types of documents, ticket certificates. There are versions, if you want to instantly print them out on A4 paper, you can do so. If you want to edit them in Paint.net or your image editing software of choice, you can do so. There's seals, stamps, textures, anything you want to sort of create your own personal document for either your character in Eberron or the game you're planning on running. And I hope that you thoroughly enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Harvey, for joining us, and thank you everybody for listening to whatever this was.
And
Drowning.
And peanut butter.
With peanut butter. Drowning in chunky peanut butter.
That's a real nightmare there.
Isn't that
Logistically.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Isn't that more like suffocation?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
No, it's not weird like liquidy peanut butter that they use in like peanut butter lattes or whatever.
I don't know. I've never had a peanut butter latte.
Yeah.
It's
gross.
Kevin Capone's own brand, Gravel Peanut Butter.
Funneled cake and graveled peanut butter. That's where it's at, guys. I'm making bank in Eberron.
Yeah. Thank you both, by the way. This has been very fun, very enjoyable, and I hope that you have a pleasant rest of your day.
Thank you.
Oh, I think that we will. I know that we're about to jump into the in character, and I'm excited about it. And we're definitely going to have to make sure that we invite you to Paranoia. That's all there is to it.
I look forward to it. I'm going to fill out that bathroom form, lickety-split.
No, you have to fill it out at the time. No, I'm not giving you bathroom privileges ahead of time. No, that's ridiculous.
I understand. My bad. You're right.
Well, thank you all. Bye.